I used to be so curious when I was little. You know those kids that always ask questions without even thinking before they ask? Or how straightforward they are without thinking of the repercussions. If you speak Spanish, you know that saying that goes, Los niños y los borrachos siempre dicen la verdad, which translates to, children and drunk people always tell the truth. It's a funny saying that goes around, but it's an awkward type of funny, you know? I think it's an awkward type of funny because we all know there's some form of truth to it. Maybe we're just too scared to admit it. It's interesting how as little kids, all we were was curious about everything. We were eager to learn and grow. I feel like that fire inside of us never dies. It just gets concealed, if that's even the correct word to describe it. It's in our adolescent years where we tend to conceal that curiosity to try new things, but we wanted to fit in with everyone else, fit in with the crowd. We're so afraid of being the outcast that some of us lose ourselves in the process. Then we grow up from our adolescence and start stepping into adulthood. And all we want is to feel like kids again. We want to be curious about everything, eager to go to the park, or crave that feeling of a Christmas morning that we had as a kid. But there's always that fear that started in our adolescence that we're going to get judged. We're going to be the outcast of the group. But we start to mature and that feeling goes away, and we're left with that bit of curiosity that we initially had as kids. I feel like that's where I am right now. I feel like some of us conceal our curiosity or excitement and hide it from showing up in front of other people. Sometimes it gets me thinking of why we hide it. I just find it so interesting yet ironic. Because don't some of life's best moments come from that spark of curiosity we felt? That curiosity to travel to that country. That curiosity to ask that person out on a date. That curiosity to try that new hobby that became your passion. I find it fascinating that there are so many times that we tell ourselves, what if I did this? But then we psych ourselves out of doing it because of all the things that we think can go wrong, when chances are those things we think of quite literally never happen. I love that quote that goes, man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. It really sums up and expresses what I'm trying to show right now. To me, curiosity is what leads to life's greatest moments. Or maybe it's being naive. Maybe it's a bit of both. Maybe I'm being naive right now. But I believe that both of these felt simultaneously are what makes life so interesting. For context, I'm 19 and I'm a few months from turning 20. I'm moving away for college and my classes start the day after my birthday, so that's great. But the point I'm trying to get at is that curiosity that we felt as kids, I feel like it's all coming back right now. Because not only am I about to make a drastic change in my life, I'm moving out of my home to go live with strangers for 2 years. And I'm going to completely focus on my education. So no work, no more relying on my parents in these situations, new friends, I hope, and just being in a position of so much unknown. It's all coming back because of all that. But I also think it's because I'm growing up. I get 18 and 21 are supposed to be the years where there's a serious difference. Like when you're 18, you're legal. You're a real adult. And you're allowed to do some adult things. And when you're 21, you're legally allowed to do every adult thing. Again, everything that's legal, of course. But for me, I feel that 20 is a serious turning point, you know? Like you're 20. It's not 20-teen. You're officially no longer a teenager. I get you're no longer a child when you turn 18, by definition of law at least. But I feel 20 is when it officially sinks in. At least for me. So I feel it's all of these factors that play into this feeling I have of sheer curiosity right now. But it's kind of funny because this feeling, I wish I felt it more. I feel like this is something we should all feel more. It's that curiosity that drove us forward in our lives as kids, and it's that feeling that's going to keep driving us forward in our lives as adults. I mean, if we were never curious, we would never leave our homes other than for necessities. We would never have tried our favorite food place, never met the love of our lives, never met our friends. We would not only be living in a mundane world, but in a world where there would be no innovation. Isn't that how our world came to how it is today? Through this emotion we call curiosity? Picture if NASA just said, nah, we don't really care about the other worlds. We have this one. So why bother trying to know what you don't know when you're okay with knowing what you do know? Or if Newton saw that apple and thought, wow, that apple just fell straight down from that tree, and took a bite and went on with his life. That's a pretty good analogy. Creativity, innovation, change, it all sparks from curiosity. I just think it gets undervalued. And that feeling we used to have to try new things when we were little kids, I've just been feeling that so much recently. Like I'm even starting to feel and smile like a little kid again. And it's a feeling I can't really explain or even imagine. But it's really nice. Like I said, creativity, innovation, and change all spark from curiosity. So I'm gonna let this emotion take its place in my life. Although this time, I'm gonna do something a little different that I haven't done fully since I was a little kid. I'm gonna act on this emotion. Because I don't know where it's gonna take me in my life, but considering I wish I had this feeling more in my life, I think it's gonna be quite an adventure. What's the worst that happens, right? I can't say I won't regret what I'm gonna do, but what I can say is I'll regret never doing it to begin with.